So for people who like stats, about 4% of the world is a sociopath and about 1% is a psychopath.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. It's rough, but that's what they say. That's about the percentage they say. So millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
So we wanted to touch base on one that's really come into light in media lately in the news, and it's Ellen DeGeneres. She has been known to have a very mean streak in Hollywood, apparently one that all of Hollywood knows about, but has always tried to keep it under loop. But lately it's really come to light.
This is actually funny because I visited LA for the first time ever because my boyfriend Tyler is from LA and we were there visiting his family. He goes to school in Canada. That's how we met. My mom loves Ellen DeGeneres. She loves her so much. She's been watching her show for years and years. So naturally, when we go to Hollywood, she says, you got to go try to see Ellen. You got to go and try to get there. So Tyler's dad works on movie sets and is very prominent in that field. So naturally, I asked Tyler if we would be able to get in to see Ellen at all. So we brought it up to his dad nonchalantly, trying to be cool, in Hollywood for the first time. Don't want to be too starstruck. And his dad actually said that Ellen was probably one of the meanest stars in, I think it's Warner Brothers Studios.
Mm-hmm.
There was a story of a couple of painters that were workers that parked in her spot. They were there for 2 minutes just trying to paint her set or fix her set or something, and she just went off on them, which I was really like, my heart just sank hearing that, because you think of Ellen and you think of this person that wants to help other people and wants to help the world and donate all this stuff to people. Well, we'll get to that later on. But you think that she's out here trying to do some good, but in reality, like, is she just manipulating everybody around her to think that's how she wants to be seen?
I know, it's sad too, because I felt like I always related with her in a few ways, because she's very sarcastic and her humor is like, she's funny, but she laughs, but she always kind of keeps it in to kind of like make a joke of someone else, but like in a funny way. And I'm kind of like that. So I've always kind of loved that and related to it. But then when I really started actually paying attention to some of the stuff she's doing, I was like, yikes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was like, it was pretty cringy. So yeah, we can get into that. So to start off, there is a comedian named Kathy Griffin who has always had this feud with Ellen. And she's actually the one that kind of coined the term that in her book, I believe she said that there is a short, blonde, daytime talk host with a mean streak that everyone knows about in Hollywood. And it was about Ellen. And apparently Ellen called her furious and like ripped her apart for it. So that was the first kind of thing that came out, saying that there was someone who was mean in Hollywood and it was actually Ellen, and people were a bit shocked by it.
Shit,
That's just to start it.
Was that?
It was just a few years ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I might be wrong on the timeline. I'm not too sure, but. So then there's the YouTube celebrity Nikki Tutorials, who is a lifestyle and makeup guru kind of channel. And she was actually on the Ellen show. And she said in a Dutch interview, because she speaks Dutch, she is Dutch. She said that she was cool and distant, which I thought was pretty ballsy, and I loved it. That she said right on there that she's cool and cold and distant.
So she said that about Ellen?
About Ellen on a Dutch show. I think she thought that since she was in a different country. It was all Dutch, so I couldn't translate more than the cool and distant part, but I don't think she gave much more than that at all. I think she was a little nervous because Ellen is kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So I think she was a little nervous. Even we're a little nervous doing this. So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. So she was a little nervous, I think.
Just a side note, guys. At the beginning of this episode, we're like, but what if we want to be on Ellen? And
I think we decided that
it's off the table.
It might be off the table. So, oh well. So the third one is Dakota Johnson. She's the girl from 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
Anna? Yeah. So she was on an interview with Ellen, and she said, Ellen said, oh, like your birthday looked like a lot of fun. Like, too bad, like I wasn't there, like I wasn't invited. And then Dakota was like, actually, Ellen, you were invited. Like, clapped right back at her. And then Ellen like looked at her and she was like, oh, like and then apparently like she was at a game out of I think she was in a different state at some sort of sports game, sitting beside George W. Bush, which is one scandal within another scandal because she lied and tried to get a rise out of Dakota on the show, just to be exposed that she was at a game out of state with George W. Bush, who was a known anti-gay rights and like a bunch of different stuff that she wouldn't normally think would be friends with. But apparently she then stood up for herself in a few shows later, saying that she is friends with him and that you don't have to be friends with people who only share the same beliefs as you. But then yet she is like dissing Caitlyn Jenner and other people who are in the same community as her because they don't have the same views as her within the same community, but then she is okay to be friends with someone who has outwardly said that they are against gay rights and a bunch of stuff, which is kind of shocking.
Mm-hmm.
So which makes me really believe, which makes me kind of believe that she is all for like the power and like whoever's in the same tax bracket as her, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, because those were really good seats that she was in, you know.
Yeah. So we're not even at like the crazy ones yet. These are just like the start off ones, like the little like, ooh, like maybe like kind of cringy, but like the next ones coming up are bad.
Like I remember seeing that one specific episode, and I kind of agreed with Ellen. I'm like, oh yeah, like that awesome, good for her, like looking past it, blah blah blah. But then a few things happened like within the last year, I would say, where I'm not really an Ellen fan anymore. For example, me and my mom were watching one episode, and the actress that played one of the twins in Cheaper by the Dozen, she is a dancer now and is doing really good for herself, I guess. She was on the Ellen show, and she was the whole episode was about her telling Ellen how she's living the minimalist life, how she sold all of her possessions, and now all of her possessions can fit in her little coupe car, a vehicle with 2 doors, 5 seats. And she was really excited about this. The whole episode's about this. And then at the end of the episode, Ellen proceeds to gift her, this celebrity who obviously needs no help, something like a 56-inch or 62-inch flat screen TV and a Netflix gift card.
So stupid.
I was just like, I haven't been able to let go of this.
No, because that day we hung out and I remember you said to me in the car, oh, by the way, I don't like Ellen anymore. And I was like, why? And then you told me this and you were like disgusted. I remember how disgusted you were by it. And even your mom was upset, I think you said, and she loves her.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
My mom is like your mom, loves Ellen every day at 4. Oh my God, Ellen's on, or 3 or whatever time it is. And now she's like, I don't like her anymore. She always has random guests on, speakers and like celebrities, and you don't even know if she's going to be there or not. And she just has like stopped liking her as
well.
much
That's
as well.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. She had other people hosting her show for a while.
Yeah, it was odd. I love Twitch though.
Yeah.
I love Twitch. Do you like Twitch? The guy who does like the DJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really him and his wife are really cute on TikTok. They're always doing dances.
Aw.
Like, because they were like great dancers, both of them. I think she's a professional dancer.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a good story though. Like I still remember you getting in my car and you were just pissed.
Still rattled.
Still rattled about it. So we're gonna start getting into the more crazier ones. So the first one is Russell Brand when he was on there. So apparently, allegedly, when he went to the Ellen show, he went into the crew meeting room and wanted to kind of meet the crew, chat with them. I guess he was waiting. He came in a bit early and wanted to relax and chat with them while he waited to go on stage. So then Ellen found this out and went to the crew room to berate him in front of all of her crew, saying, you will have your own special area backstage for the guests. You don't have to communicate with our crew. Like something really sassy like that. Yeah, and he was not impressed. I don't think he's been back on since.
Oh my goodness. That's so upsetting. Like, you want your crew to be, like, your crew are people. They're not just there to serve you.
I know. And then Katy Perry was on, and she apparently gave Katy Perry a wedding gift and a few years ago when she married Russell Brand, because Katy Perry and Russell Brand were married when Katy Perry was 25. And she gave her gifts and everything right on the show. And she said to her, "Wait, you were married?" And Katy Perry was like, "Yeah, Russell Brand." And she was like, "You gave me gifts on this show?" Like, so taken back by it. Like,
Oh
she
my goodness.
forgot that she was married, or she was doing that because she was pissed at Russell Brand,
Right.
right? Like, I'm not sure which one it was. Like, pretty sure it's more towards the she was mad at Russell Brand part,
Well,
but
that's
that's
right.
pretty savage.
Because I'm pretty sure that her crew would tell her, oh, and just so you know, like, give her kind of a rundown of the people before they come onto the
Yeah,
show.
you think you remember giving her wedding gifts, especially someone like Katy Perry, because she's been
Exactly.
on her show multiple times. Yeah,
Hmm.
but so it's just getting crazier from here. We haven't even got to the climax, not to the top of the mountain yet.
So, like Kathy Griffin had said, celebs in Hollywood have been trying to warn everybody for years that Ellen is kind of going off the rails. Another example would be one of her interns who had got a writing job with Ellen received another job within the Warner Brothers studio family, and Ellen asked for the Christmas gift back that she had given to this particular individual. And apparently, like, allegedly, she doesn't even give Christmas gifts out anymore except to a select few of her employees who get B&Ws and stuff. It's insane.
It's crazy. It's like, if you can't just give some of your employees gifts. If this is true, it's all allegedly, but there's so many people speaking out now where some of it's got to be true. But it's sad. Like, you can't treat some employees some way and only know some of your employees' names. Like, I get if it was a huge production, but I'm pretty sure there's only a few writers that work for her, and she only knows one or two of their names. Like, she won't even learn other people's names, apparently.
Exactly.
So,
That's so sad.
so one of the cringiest moments I personally think for Ellen was one of the episodes where she set up a table that said, "Please only take one item," and put out mugs, t-shirts, hats, keychains, a bunch of things onto this table. And she set up a little fake hidden camera. And then she waited and I guess got people to watch and wait for someone to take more than one item. So when this lady did take more than one item, she then decided to, during an episode in front of millions of people, then call her out, get her to stand up, tell her that all it took was to be a nice person and she shouldn't have done that, and then made her sit in like a really tall and comfortable high chair off to the side, but like kind of in front of everyone, and called it jail and made her sit there in front of everyone. And then when the girl said, "I'm sorry, like my sister really couldn't come and she's a huge fan and I just wanted to get something for her as well," she then said, "Well, everyone here has a sister who just couldn't come," right in front of everyone. And I get it, but at the same time, like, I don't know if she was trying to be funny, but I just like it was a little bit funny, and like people I think kind of thought it was lighthearted, but at the same time, like that girl who went through that's like humiliating. Like, it was millions of people
That is
watching that.
humiliating.
It was quite cringy.
I
So
feel so bad for her. And I find some of the most cringiest things that Ellen says for me is when she has kids on and she's talking to kids, but she's semi mocking them as she's interviewing them. And she's
mhm,
making fun of them. And like, it can be funny and
mhm,
or cute, but the poor child has no idea what's happening.
mhm,
They watch it years from now and they're embarrassed and just humiliated. I don't think it's right.
mhm. No, I think it's funny in some aspects if you didn't realize that she was doing it without actually caring. Like, I think it brings it to a different light when you realize that there's a lack of actual caring in there. And I think that really came to light for me when the poor little prodigy guitar player boy that didn't speak English was on the show and his translator was with him. And Ellen asked him a question, so the translator translated it. But because it was a difficult language to kind of translate to, the translator was taking a bit longer, like a few more sentences to kind of translate it properly to this little boy. He was also really young, so just to kind of make him understand what she was saying. And she got so frustrated within the first sentence, she literally turned to her and said, okay, it was one question. And then this translator is like young too. She's probably 10, maybe 12.
God, no.
So she's like, looks at her, like, it's a kid translator too. So the kid looks at her and she's like, I'm sorry. And then kind of says the quicker. And then Ellen goes, see, it wasn't that hard. And then she like looks at her again, and you can tell she's just like so freaking scared because there's millions of people watching on TV and she knows that. So then, and the little boy is so confused. So he answers, but answers in a way that kind of like doesn't answer the question, but it's because of the huge language barrier, and he's 8 or 6 or whatever how old he is. So then she says, yeah, you know that, we don't know that, or whatever. And she's kind of laughing, and like at first she's like, okay, it's kind of funny, maybe, and you're kind of confused because it is kind of funny, but at the same time you're like, oh, I don't know. And then she starts to say the question again, and then she gets so frustrated and fed up with them going back and forth a bit, the translator and the little kid, that she says, never mind, I'm over it, pretty much. Like,
oh my God.
right in front of everyone, she's like, never mind, I'm done, kind of thing. And like looks at them like, actually done. And like kind of like does this like really evil like laugh smile. And I was like, oh my God, they're children. Like there's difference between being funny and like having that sarcastic kind of funny humor, which is fine. Like I'm kind of like that too. And then there's a difference just being plain old impatient and rude.
Yeah, and humiliating people on
like you gotta understand your power and your influence.
Yeah, like she'll never translate for anybody again, probably. Like
not in public, at least. Probably not. No, I know.
Oh
She was probably so embarrassed and so sad after that.
It's so insane. Because nobody would know any of this if it wasn't for video and social media and all of that. Like, you can't hide from anything
anymore. No, for sure. And then I don't even think that's the worst one. I think the absolute worst one is Mariah Carey, what she did to Mariah Carey. So on one episode, Mariah came out and Ellen was like, so there's rumors that you're pregnant. And Mariah's like, oh, like, let's not talk about that. And Ellen's like, oh, well, you can't hide it. There's rumors. And then she's like, okay, no, like, let's not talk about it. And Ellen's like, okay, well, let's drink champagne, because if you aren't pregnant, you can drink. And bring champagne out. And she's staring at her like, are you serious? So then she's like, okay, I can't drink that. I'm pregnant. What are you supposed to say, right?
Oh my gosh.
2 weeks later, there's a reason why she wasn't telling anyone. It's because she wasn't even at 12 weeks yet. She had a miscarriage.
No.
And tell the whole world that she had a miscarriage, because when you're that famous and people know you're pregnant, they're so excited, and you have to tell them that you just had a miscarriage. If Ellen would have given her those few extra weeks, she wouldn't have had to tell anyone anything.
Did Ellen apologize?
No, I don't think so. I haven't seen an apology. From what I researched, I couldn't find an apology.
Oh my God,
definitely the worst one.
That's horrible.
In my opinion. I'm sure there's more that I didn't even realize, but like that one was pretty brutal. So just poor Mariah Carey trying to have the ability to tell everyone on her own terms, which is every woman's right to be able to say that when they're ready, especially with the amount of risk there is having a miscarriage in the first trimester. That's why people don't tell anyone in the first trimester. And then Ellen has to, on national television, in front of millions of people, when she's already a famous star, say that, which she knows is going to cause attention to it. Just for her ratings, I'm assuming she was doing that. And maybe she didn't mean it badly, but at the same time, you have to know not to do that. As a talk show host, you think, well, in a woman, but I don't know.
I've seen her push people for answers a million times. I couldn't tell you specifics, but I remember sitting there being uncomfortable watching her show with my mom because she's pushing for the answers she wants. The person to say it on her couch for the first time.
Which I get. It's your show and you're trying to be the first person to hear things and stuff. And with light things like dating and are you dating this person, blah, blah, it's not like that big of a deal. It's funny at that point, but when it comes to something like that, that was a low blow.
That's right.
Yeah, so thank God for Twitter and platforms like that where people are actually able to speak their minds and say, hey, like I worked there or my friend worked there and this happened, and to kind of bring light to the fact of how horrible she treats her employees allegedly. And it's nice to see that there's the ability for people to now do that. and have direct conversations and kind of pinpoint certain things that have happened to them right on social media for people to hear, which is good, I think.
That's right. And it's pretty bad when editing can't hide the fact that you're kind of a psychopath on your own show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Twitter and social media and YouTube and stuff gives people the ability to see it and comment on it and analyze it. So
No, I agree.